Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to your 21st Pygame tutorial video. In this video, what we're going to be working on is making our snake a little longer when he eats an apple, as well as when he runs into himself. That's a big deal. So, first of all, to make the snake get a little longer every time he eats an apple, all you have to do is kind of scroll down to where we redefine apple X and Y. So where we've redefined apple X and Y is after lead X is the same as apple random X, and then lead Y is random apple Y. So that's when we've run over an apple, or eaten an apple. So at that point is when we actually will allow our snake to get a little longer. And the variable for that, let me find that variable real quick. Snake length. So we would just say snake length plus equals 1. And right now I think our starting length was pretty long just to show it. So now we'll start at 1 again. So just scroll up to the top and change that to 1 if you had changed that to 10. And we'll save and run that. And so here we are. Let's eat this apple. There we go. So we ate that apple. We're getting a little longer. Cool. A little longer. This is going to be a challenge. Oh my goodness. Got it. Anyway, you guys get the point. So now we're getting a little longer, but we still can run into ourselves, especially noted by just going back and forth like this. You know that you're being allowed to run into yourself. So we need to fix that. So how might we know that we've run into ourselves? So just like running into the apple where we could maybe have a larger apple, but we got away with having a smaller apple right now as far as knowing like whether the X's and the Y's are crossed over, so to speak. The snake hitting itself, you could do it a hard way, and you could say like, you know, you could measure where all of the snake is or something like that. You could do it kind of weird, but the easiest way that I can think of is to ask the question, if the snake head has the exact same coordinates as any other segment in the snake, that means we've crashed. And that's it. We just have to ask that one simple question. So to ask that question, or where we're going to ask that question, is going to be really before we even draw the snake, really. It doesn't matter, you could do it before or after. If you draw the snake, then you'll see the full collision, as opposed to, like, you'll have collided and gone through it, as opposed to just hitting, like, the front of it. But I'll call it before. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So, to know for sure if we've hit ourselves, we would just ask for each segment in snake list, and that would be anything up to the last element. So if you don't really know your list comprehension kind of stuff here, like to reference anything from after the first element, you would say snake list, 1: so everything from the first element onward, and ignoring the first element basically. And anything like -1 is the last element if you put -1. And if you put -2, it's like the second to last element. So what we're saying is analyze everything up to the last element, because the last element in the list, that's where the snake head is, right? So we don't care. We're asking the question if the snake head is equal to anything else. So obviously if we let it go all the way into the snake list, so if we just said for each segment in snake list, the head would equal the head, so then we would say, oh, you've crashed even though you hadn't. So :-1, and then what we're going to say is if each segment double equals snake head. So if each of the if the segment is identical to the same coordinates as the snake head, then we have a collision. So if that's the case, game over just one equal sign, true. Okay, so let's save that and let's run that. Bring this over. And let's get that, get this. Man, we're bossing snake at the moment, aren't we? And oh my goodness, not anymore. I spoke too soon, guys. Get this. Anyway, we're playing snake, and let's just go in so we turned in on ourselves. Game over. C to play again, Q to quit. And we can do it right now because we're only 1 long, but let's run over ourselves really quick after we get this apple, if I ever get it. There we go. Run over ourselves. See, I guess actually because we're 2, they just flip their positions. So that would be why that's allowing us to do that. But let's get 3, and now we turn into ourselves, and again, we game over. So we're pretty confident that now we have the code required to analyze whether or not we're actually like crashing into ourselves. So anyway, so we have that, and actually now would be pretty much one of the first times we've found ourselves at a pretty much fully functional snake game. So congratulations on that, but there's actually a lot of other things that we need to do to this snake game to make it better. And there's a lot of other things to Pygame too that we definitely want to cover. But you can at least give yourself somewhat of a pat on the back, because this is I would say a pretty fully functional game. So anyway, lots to still cover here, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed up to this point. As always, thanks for watching.